Dr. Dyson, I need you to help me. My soul's troubled about something, and I need you to help me. I want you to give us some insight on what it says about our country that the only cases involving Donald Trump that have moved, including the one that resulted in a felony conviction yesterday, were all brought outside of the federal structure.
Mhm.
Right? So Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, outside of the federal structure, a
Right.
black woman.
Alvin Bragg.
Alvin Bragg,
Mhm.
Manhattan District Attorney, his predecessor had that case
Right.
outside of the federal structure.
Yes.
I want, and of course, in Atlanta, Fonnie Willis has been magnificent and fearless, daughter of a Black Panther,
Mhm.
right? Brilliant lawyer, her father. Speak to that culturally.
Well, that's a great point. And the obvious thing that brings all three of those folk together, even though we know the predecessor to Alvin Bragg was not a black man, these are black folk. When we opened up by talking about, or at least when I came in, yet again, black people will save democracy. Here it is at the judicial level, right? At the outside the federal level, because the Supreme Court is flying flags upside down, right?
Mm.
And blaming it on their wife, not their wife, their wife, right? Upside down. Oops, upside your head. It's a Gap Band and Diana Ross moment. I'm coming out upside down. So they obviously have been influenced by black culture because they got it all turned upside down. But the point you're making is brilliant and powerful and poignant. That is to say, outside of the federal level, the federal judiciary, which should be responsible, we have had to have these cases drawn on the local level. Why is that? A couple of reasons. First of all, it does indicate the extraordinary political genius, let's give him credit, of Donald Trump of stacking the federal bench, of stacking the judiciary, not just the Supreme Court, which he shifted the power balance by putting three folk on there, right? So when young people
Supermajority.
tell me, oh, I ain't gonna vote, it ain't no difference between them, even if you believe that hogwash, which is just silly, it's the other stuff. It's the economy, stupid. It's the Supreme Court, stupid. And now you got a Supreme Court that is about to lessen and ameliorate the conditions to be held for the January 6th people, criminals, to be held legally liable. That stuff is going to be relieved significantly once the Supreme Court finishes with it. So the point is stacking the federal bench, stacking the judiciary with Donald Trump appointees like the female judge who said, in regard
In
to one of
Florida,
the other cases, right, Smith, no, we're not going to
the
put a
Florida
gag on the
case.
president and so on and so forth. So the point is, that's number one. Number two, I think that the shift right has been so significant that the middle has moved to the right, right? And
Here, here.
moderates, Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, y'all claim to be moderates and centrists, and now Joe Manchin has made it official. He's leaving, both parties. Bro, as Howard Zinn said, ain't no neutrality on a moving train. And when you are neutral or in quote independent in this era, you are reinforcing the status quo. So the point is that the far shift right has mandated a kind of federal allergy to taking on cases that are perceived to be political only when those politics seem to favor or at least speak to those interests that are, quote, liberal or progressive. So the lockhold, the chokehold that the far right has on the judiciary is telling here. And thank God for Letitia James and Alvin Bragg and Fonnie Willis, because they have been the true ambassadors of a judiciary that is independent of the president, like the Department of Justice is independent of the president. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to hold young Mr. Biden accountable. So the point is, until we understand that those factors have occurred, we're going to be in bad shape. But you're right to be heartbroken, distressed, because we should depend upon a judiciary that is independent. Even the Supreme Court, under more conservative interests, never had this blatant disregard for precedent, convention, or the integrity of law.